they will say like some theories like multiverses uh, or any other explanation, but they will never be sure about it.
Okay, but just because
So
they
they
don't know doesn't mean it must have been God. Just because they
no,
don't
no, I'm not
argue
saying
from incredulity. Just because they don't know doesn't mean it was God.
I'm not saying God, but I'm saying that nobody actually knows or have evidence that this.
What are we debating here then? If you don't even believe it's God, then what are we debating?
Hello?
What do you want to do, my dear boy?
Yeah, so I want to ask what's your explanation for not believing in God being real?
No evidence, I guess. At least the evidence that is, there has not convinced me, quite frankly.
So, how do you think the world was made, if I ask you?
I don't know. It could have always been here, but regardless, I don't know. And
So
that's
if you don't know, how do you believe that God didn't do it? Like, what's your
because there's
explanation?
no evidence for it. Just like that's like me saying just because you don't know, that means this one. It's okay to say you don't know. There's not enough evidence to say that God did it.
So you're saying that God can be real? You can't say God's not real when you don't have an explanation.
Depending on religion, hold on one second. Depending on your religion, we can find internal inconsistencies in the existence of God, such as the problem of evil, as in God being an evil being, the problem of divine hiddenness. Where is he? Where is God?
No,
Why
no, but I'm asking, okay, so if you think about the first cell, who do you think created that? Where's your scientific
theories
evidence
behind that?
for
And
what
even
created that first cell?
again, you're just deflecting, you're distracting. It's a red
No,
hair,
no, answer the question though.
non
How was
sequitur.
the first cell created?
Even if I don't know, that doesn't mean it was God. Just because I
So,
don't
so God could have made it then. Yeah.
know. I mean,
No, why
again,
not? Why not?
because there's
How
internal.
was life created
I just
without
told.
God?
Hold on one second, my dear boy. Please. You're giving verbose explanations, but your memory's a little errant and you're not listening. So listen up closely and be educated. The point is this. The point is this. The point is that just because I don't know doesn't mean it was God. We have theories behind that, such as abiogenesis. People said the same thing about lightning, about floods. It must be God. We don't know how floods occur. We don't know how lightning occurs. We don't know how eclipses work. It must be God. But then we realized there were scientific explanations behind all of those. The same with how the first cell was made. It could have been abiogenesis. That's the best theory we have currently. But the point is that just because we don't know doesn't mean it was a higher being.
Okay. But the thing is, if you don't know, so you're saying there is a chance that he exists.
No, because I there are internal inconsistencies depending on the God you believe in. I don't know what religion you are.
Okay. Yeah, so basically I'm a Sikh, yeah. We believe in one God. What's the inconsistency there?
Okay, do
A
you
one
believe
higher
God is
power.
all loving? Do you believe God is all loving?
Yeah?
Do you believe He's all powerful?
He is, yeah.
Why is there evil?
Why is evil? Because we believe it's based on your own actions. Your own actions determine your situation.
So is that the free will argument? He gave us free will. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Does God have free will?
Yeah, God of course has free will.
Does He ever do bad?
No, he doesn't do that.
So why do we do bad?
Because we have free will.
But you just acknowledge that God could have made a world in which we have free will and didn't choose bad. But He made a world in which we have free will and do choose bad. So why is
Yeah,
He
yeah,
done?
but that's on us though, isn't it? But that's because we have free will. If he made it so you couldn't do bad, then it's not free will, is it?
No, you absolutely can have free will and always do good, just like God. Why can He make us like Him? That's what He was supposed to do. He said He made us in His nature. So why has He done that?
Yeah,
Does He have
but
free
you
will?
can't you can't what type of world is it where it's just all good?
Kind of like I mean, I'm not too sure of the Sikh theology, so I'm not sure exactly, but at least referred to Christian. Why would God not make an all good world? If he's not evil, he would do that.
No,
No.
but how the way we think of it is basically what happens to you is based on your previous actions. So people say, oh, someone's born with a disability. Is it because God's evil? No, it's because of our previous actions that have made us.
You mean the afterlife, or as in like?
No, like we believe in
Oh,
reincarnation.
oh,
So like
so
in a previous life, you've done something bad, and
okay,
that's why you've been put in that position.
It's kind of like Hinduism or Buddhism. You do something bad and then you get reincarnated, and depending on how your actions were in the previous life, depends on where you end up in the next life.
Yeah,
The issue
exactly.
with that is like it's not very useful if like you can't remember the previous life, so you don't know where you can improve. Like
But
it's kind of not useful, is it? It's kind of not
but
no moral
you know what
go.
the thing is, if you could remember your previous life, then people would just go chase their previous life, wouldn't they?
Pardon?
So if you remembered your previous life, then many people would just go and try to chase their previous life. They'll go to their old wife. They'll chase the riches that they earned in their old life.
That wouldn't be possible because you'd be a separate person, and we know that we don't remember anything from any past life, so that would literally be
No,
impossible.
but you're saying if you remembered your past life, it wouldn't work.
I mean, no, because you'd be born into a separate person. So even if you did remember, it would be a different time, a separate person. I don't think those things would be possible. It'd be impossible.
Yeah, but the thing is, the reason why you don't remember is so you can move forward. Because if you remember the past, then people are going to be stuck with their past. You get my point?
Regardless, you also run into other issues of, again, free will. Like, do you really have a choice? Like, what standard is, God using to say that this person is bad? It doesn't really work, because, like, depending on your environment, there's an argument that there is not even free will isn't even a thing. Because, there's arguments behind that. So,
What's the argument? That's what I'm trying to find out. What's the argument?
I mean, this is kind of moving off topic from what you got exists, but I mean, we know that if you're born into a lower socioeconomic background, you're more likely to do crime, and hence someone born more wealthy. It's not really fair that
Yeah, but then
it's not
free
fair.
will comes back into it. You still have a chance to do good, you know?
And plus, when did it first start? Like, this runs into the thing. When did reincarnation first start? Like, how long ago?
It's always been there. God
So
is outside of time. We're inside time.
Those were reincarnating.
God was never created. We were never created. We've always been.
Like at the start of the universe with dinosaurs, whether
Look,
they have a good life or bad life, how does that even work? Animals just go on instinct. Like it just gets convoluted and it doesn't really make sense. And you
yeah,
can't.
but we don't understand. God is not inside time. The universe was created, destroyed. You know,
God is not inside of time. Where is God?
He's outside of time. We're in that dimension,
How
but
can he
we're not.
make it requires time to make the universe. So how can he make the universe with no time?
No. What I'm trying to say is we're inside time. Us as souls, we're inside time.
What is it like to be outside of time? How does that work? How does it?
We don't know. I'm not God.
Hold on one
God,
second, my dear boy. Hold on one second, my dear boy. How can you have change without time? To have change requires a time in which you weren't in a place to a place in which you are. So how can you have change without time? How does that work?
no. What I'm saying, we're inside time. So
Yeah,
God
it's
creates the change
outside of
for
time.
us, isn't it?
Pardon?
So we're in time, and then God creates the change for in our timeline.
But how does God create the change if he's outside of time? You see how that
No,
works? Does God affect
he's
by
not restricted by time. Like
but
God
how
is
does that work?
omnipresent. He's
He's
everywhere.
time.
You know, like
Hold on one second. See, let me help you out. You're having trouble focusing and you're having trouble
bro, you say that to every guest. You're actually getting annoying though.
But
To be
you
fair.
are because you're not engaging rationally or in good faith. I just explained to you that's impossible. It's a logical inconsistency. For him to actually make the universe requires a time in which there was no universe to there being a universe, and that requires time, a difference.
Yeah.
If he hold on one second, my dear boy, let me
Yeah.
finish. Please don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. So if he's eternal, then how can he make? If he's eternal, then what change happened to the point where he didn't want to make a universe to where he did want to make a universe, and there must be time. It does it like it literally is inconsistent for you to say there isn't. So that's another
No.
inconsistency.
What I'm saying is time is something that we're inside. God is outside of time. He's not restricted by time.
That's inconsistent. That's illogical. You
How
can't
how
be
is that
outside of
inconsistent?
time.
How?
How can you be outside of time? That's
Yeah,
illogical. You cannot be
we
outside.
can't understand God, but God is outside of time. He's not restricted to the same dimensions
You're
we
just
are.
playing the semantics game, and it's kind of just like you're
No,
just.
but
I
what I'm
don't
trying to
know.
get to is you have no evidence for why God isn't real.
I do like there's inconsistency. I already gave you the problem of evil, and but you just avoided that. I gave you the problem of divine hiddenness. Like, where is he? What about
No.
people who never?
About the evil
Not interrupt.
topic.
Hold on one second, my dear boy. Please don't interrupt. So again, I
Yeah.
already gave you the problem of divine hiddenness. Like, where is he? What about people who've never heard of him? What's gonna happen to them? They're not gonna be able to praise him if they've never heard of him. And then, of course, I gave you the logical inconsistencies in his nature. So, but you just ignored those, although they're valid.
Okay. We'll
Ignored
go
those.
through every single one, and I'll prove why you're wrong. Okay.
Okay, prove me wrong. Okay, we'll start with the problem of evil again. Didn't God make a good world in which we all choose good with free will, just like He does? Does He ever choose bad?
No, God doesn't choose bad. What I'm saying is we have free will, and then with that free will, we can choose to do bad or good.
And He made that world in which we choose bad and good, right?
Yeah,
As in we choose bad. So we could have made a one which we always choose good and have free will. If He's all powerful, He can do that logically.
he could have. Yeah.
Okay, so if He didn't, and He made a world in which we're bad, and He's all
No,
powerful, He could have made
no.
one
He,
that's
he
good.
didn't make it where we're bad. He's given us the choice to be bad.
Sir,
Does that make him bad? No,
sir,
that's
we
on
have
us.
the choice, and always good things happen. He's all powerful. He can
Yeah,
do everything.
yeah.
So
He
the
can do
fact that He
everything.
didn't do that means He's bad. That is it.
That makes no sense because I'm saying it's on us. It's not on God.
So you just not engaging rationally. There's nothing I can do if you're not gonna pay attention to what I'm saying. All right, let's get someone else in. I spent quite a bit of time on that guy. Hey, what do you want to debate?
Hey, listen. I've only got one argument for you, yeah?
Yeah.
My one argument is God isn't omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's outside, he's inside, he's everywhere.
He's everywhere. Where is everywhere? What is physical makeup? What does he look like? Where is everywhere? Like, how is that even possible? Like, what does it look
God,
like? Can we test for it? Can we figure out where it is? Where is everywhere? Can we figure out where it
in the
is?
Bible, listen. In the Bible, it says,
Sir, you can't use the
God.
Bible to hold on one second, my dear boy. You can't use the Bible to prove the
Oh,
Bible.
shut up. Stop saying my dear boy.
That's circular reasoning. You can't use something inside a book to prove it. You can't say it's true because it's in the book. Because it's in the book, it's true. It's true because it's in the book. Because it's in the book, it's true. You see, you're going around in circles. That doesn't work.
Jesus. Right then. What about Jesus?
You need to go to sleep. You sound tired.
Hey, what's up, man?
You want to debate?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You want to debate?
Okay, yeah. So, I would like to run an argument to prove the existence of God.
Go ahead. We're all for it, man. I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Okay. So, would you agree that logic is conceptual?
What do you mean by logic? Logic is conceptual.
Okay, so do you believe in the three classical laws of logic?
What are the three classical laws of logic?
The law of identity, non-contradiction, and excluded middle.
Sure. Oh, I see what you're referring to. Sure. Go ahead. Yes. But how
So,
does it prove your God? That's the point in which I'm trying to wait.
yeah, well, I said I'm gonna run an argument, right? So I'm just setting a few premises, right?
Just get to the argument, please.
Yeah, so would you agree that the laws of logic are conceptual?
Sure. I just want you to get to the argument.
Okay, perfect. So if the laws of logic are conceptual and would you also agree that they're transcendental, like from a human? Like if no human existed, would you still believe that the laws of logic would exist?
See, no, they kind of exist dependent on humans in a way. You see, because because they're conceptual logics and they rely on human beings. They kind of do require humans. So no.
Okay, so if no humans existed, it's possible for the moon to exist and not exist at the same time.
Not at all.
Okay, so that would mean that the laws of
Talking about you need beings there to actually acknowledge it.
but
To
acknowledge
actually,
but acknowledging it
but
that's false.
I don't understand how you're getting to God. Like you haven't
Okay,
mentioned one
well,
point.
you just said something that's false though. Does a tree that falls in the woods, does it make a sound even if nobody hears it?
Sure.
Okay, so then it
Bro,
would be
get to the argument of God. You haven't mentioned it once. You're taking so long. Please
we'll,
mention
we'll,
it.
we'll calm down and start manifesting. We're gonna get there, right?
Dear boy, can you hurry up? You're taking a long time. I'm about to kick you. If you don't mention God in your next sentence, you're gone because you're just
Well,
like you're not making any argument.
Well, you
Please,
just said the stupidest thing ever, so I have to like spoon feed it
sir,
to you like a little
sir,
baby.
sir, this is your last chance. Get to the point of God or else I'm kicking you. Okay? Get to the quick argument
Perfect.
that proves God. Quickly.
Perfect. So God would be the only grounding for these transcendental concepts like logic, right? They would
Why,
it would necess can I
why,
finish?
why?
Because by necessity, the laws of logic, right, concepts, they would have to be grounded within a mind, right? A
Oh, they don't have to. You
transcendental.
just said that they can exist outside of a mind. Hence, they don't need God. God's mind, outside of God's mind, they can exist. We just
No,
agreed that conceptually, like even if no mind existed, they would still be there. So they
no, I
don't.
said I said if no human existed,
And
which
why would they?
you first
God
disagreed with,
is not
like a
subjective mind.
complete ignoramus.
Hold on one second, my dear boy. God would just be another subjective mind. So your point is mute.
That wouldn't be the case because God would be the grounding for logic.
Presupposing that, where's your evidence that God is the grounding for logic? Show me the evidence of that.
Well, which premise do you disagree with?
It's not about premises. You've just jumped that premise right now. You're saying God is the grounding. Can you show me the evidence of that? Do you have any evidence that He is the grounding? Or you just merely
Well,
presupposing that?
you agreed that conceptual things must have a mind. They must exist in a mind, right?
No,
And because these things are,
no humans or mind existed, that wouldn't be the case. You said
pardon me?
actually. I corrected you, but we agreed on that. So
No, no.
you have no argument. You're just going around in circles. It's actually mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. No, Daryl Brooks. I have no point. Say what you want to do. When they have no evidence, that's exactly how I am. What do you want to debate?
About God's existence.
You believe in God?
Yeah, of course. So what'd you say?
What's your evidence of his existence?
So there's a boatload, but I think for me the easiest one to grapple is, first of all, everybody can agree that the universe has a beginning. If you disagree that the universe has, sorry,
Absolutely not. We have no evidence of that.
well, I mean,
Everybody can
we,
agree.
we have a lot of scientific evidence that the universe has a beginning. So
Show me the scientific evidence that proves the universe had a beginning.
you want me to go and, I mean, I can't just show you because it's like there's a lot of
Studies and
research that goes into
the research has shown. You can tell me. You can use your words, my dear boy.
the Big Bang.
Okay, the Big Bang, that's not necessarily the start. The Big Bang just describes a phenomenon of when matter was condensed into a really small space. Hence, we look at redshift in galaxies, we see them moving away. We know that they were closer at one point. Hence, that it's just describing a phenomenon of mass being in a small condensed spot
So
and expanding.
okay,
It doesn't say about the beginning of the universe, so that's not the point.
okay, so that means that time has been infinitely regressing. There has been infinite regression of time. It has always existed. Is that what you're trying to say?
Possibly.
So if that was the case, then how is now the present and tomorrow is the future and yesterday is the past? If time is just has always been, that doesn't make any sense.
Those aren't mutually exclusive, and just because you're debating from an argument of personal incredulity because you don't understand it, that means it can't be true. That's absolutely not the case. Just because it's infinite doesn't mean that it can't have a now and a tomorrow. Absolutely not. Like if you have an infinitely, hold on one second, my dear boy. If you have an infinitely long ruler, you can still have different points in the ruler. Doesn't mean that you can't have different points just because it's infinitely long. Infinity does not precedent, infinity.
Okay, so if the universe did have, I mean, sorry, if it didn't have a starting point, why do we go back and then we stop at the Big Bang? Why can't we go further back than that?
We just don't know what could have possibly been before that. But the Big Bang, again, even is a theory. It's a scientific theory. So all it's describing is the matter was at one point in time was at a really very small space, around 13 billion years ago, and expanded very quickly and rapidly. That's all we know. We don't know whether it was the start. We don't know any of that. So we don't necessarily agree that the universe has a start.
Okay,
We
so
just don't know.
we know that that's the earliest point that we can possibly find. So we take that as the beginning because we can't find anything further, like previous. We can't.
Just because we can't find anything further back doesn't necessarily mean that was the start.
Well, yeah, of course it doesn't like completely guarantee it, because if you don't know something, that doesn't mean that it can't exist. There's a lot of things that are true, but we just don't know them maybe yet. But if we're going based off of what we know, because we know that that is the earliest starting point, that means that that would be the beginning.
No, I just explained exactly why not. Just because you keep repeating something doesn't make it any more true. Like you repeated that doesn't make it more true. And this is saying Islam is amazing. I mean, I just don't like the misogyny. I think there's a lot of misogyny, especially with Muhammad, with Aisha at her very young age. I don't think that was very moral. I don't know what age it was. Allah has proven to us that He is God. No, He hasn't. Where's your evidence? At least He hasn't proven to me. I don't think the proof is enough to convince me. Please show me the evidence. I think you should have let him finish. He didn't really have any argument. He was just repeating himself. I already refuted it. It's like him saying 1 + 1 is 3. 1 + 1 is 3. 1 + 1 is 3. Just because you keep repeating it doesn't make it any more true. And so if you're just gonna ignore basic physics, I can't help you. I can't help you. All right, let's see who else we can add.
Hello.
Do you want to debate?
I want to address a point that you brought up about like how you was talking to that Sikh guy and you said, "Oh, you ignore the problem of evil."
Yeah.
Okay, so in Islam we do not say that God is all loving. We say that He loves the ones who loves Him, because if He were, because I know how you brought up the the problem of evil. Inconsistent triad. If He's all loving, all powerful, all knowing, then He could stop evil. No, we do not say He's all loving. Sorry, He loves the ones who love Him. Because imagine, I'm not going to bring up his name, but the man from the 1940s, mustache man. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. If he, based off what he did, if God was all loving, it would that means He would have to love Him, causing a stalemate between His justice and His love. So he only loves the ones who love Him. Do you understand?
But what if Mr. Mustache Man loved God? Would he now love Him?
No, because of the actions he did.
So
How,
it's
no,
your
how,
actions.
no,
You said,
no, no,
you
no, no,
said
no, how,
He loves those who love Him. You're contradicting yourself, my dear boy.
no, how, okay, can I
Throw him a
speak? Can
lifeline.
I speak? Can I
Throw
speak?
him a lifeline.
You're not even letting me speak. Okay. How could he love God if he did what he did?
I mean, first of all, I don't even think he was exposed to God, so that's not even fair. Again, this links to the problem of divine hiddenness. How was he? How was anyone in Germany at the time meant to believe in him? Because Islam was nowhere near Germany at that time, so it's kind of like ridiculous. I
No,
expect them to love him and know him when no one
no,
is.
that's
Period. In fact, majority of people would. That's not fair, and that's not ethical.
that's not. Okay, I only use him as an example, right? But
Okay, well, your example's false. Everybody, go check out the YouTube for the rest of my debates. Also, go and subscribe to the TikTok. It helps go a long way. I appreciate it a lot. It helps the lives keep going, and I really appreciate it. But you guys need to make up for the misogyny in your religions, because it's terrible, and you need to actually understand it. But yeah, okay, this person's not joining. You gotta be quiet because I shoot with the silencer. All right, this person doesn't want to join, or maybe he's just not present. I don't know. I'm gonna add in a couple more people, and then I might end the live.
Can you hear me?
Evidence. Hey, what do you want to debate?
The evolution one.
Oh, okay. Do you believe evolution is a fact?
No, it's called a theory of evolution.
No, it's a scientific fact, sir. Do you know the
Why
difference
is
between a
it,
theory and a scientific theory?
then why is it called the theory of evolution if it's a fact?
The theory of evolution is just describing the mechanism, but the reason why it's a scientific fact, what makes it a scientific fact is because, independent scientists have come to conclusions and agreed on a paradigm and have agreed on a set of principles that make something true. And scientists around the world independently do experiments, observations, and use reason to help come to these conclusions. That's exactly what makes it a scientific fact rather than a theory. The fact that there's experimentation to support it. That is the point.
And it used to be a scientific fact that the world was flat.
No, that was a paradigm, but there was no scientific backing behind that. There was literally guessing. There was no scientific backing behind that whatsoever. There's no independently run experiments that different scientists across the world came to an agreed conclusion that the Earth
Yes,
was.
there was.
That absolutely wasn't, sir. That absolutely wasn't. They did not from across the world, trusted independent institutions that came to conclusions. That did not occur.
So
But
since
when
we
the Earth was
disagree
round,
on,
that was the case. Hence why, if you do an experiment in the USA, in Russia, in China, across the world, you will come to the same conclusion. Hence why it's a scientific fact and not the theory.
since we disagree on that, you say we come from a common ancestor.
Yes. I mean, depending
What
on What do you mean? Who comes from a common ancestor?
I was trying to get your insight of it. Like, what do you believe we evolved from?
I mean, we just go down the evolutionary tree. You know, primates, then mammalian-like animals. We can go back to dinosaur era. We
So
did transition. Yep.
where's the in between from where we evolved from to where we are now?
You said where's the in between
Yeah,
to what? I mean,
from
the lineage of animals that we evolved with. I don't know how you want me to
just
answer
show me
that.
one. Can you
Pardon?
show me one that
We
was before
we have
humans?
fossil evidence. There are fossil evidence that show like the process. And what do you mean with humans? I mean, what are
Like
you trying to ask here?
we evolved from a common ancestor. So from the ancestor that we evolved from
Hold on one
to
second.
what we are now,
My dear boy, give me a moment. If you're saying we evolved from a common ancestor, it has to be with something else. With what? What organism are you talking about?
I would I ask you if we evolved from a common ancestor. I was trying to get your insight of it.
Give me a moment. Let me help you out because I think you're struggling a bit. I think you're
I'm
referring to Luca, the last my fault. The last universal common ancestor, which is Luca, which is basically like the first life forms. Is that what you're talking about?
no, because I don't believe in evolution. I was trying to see where you would get the common ancestor from.
What do you think evolution is? What do you think evolution is?
Is I think it's fake. I think it's a theory that people say is fake.
Can you describe to me the theory of evolution and what it actually entails?
We evolved from a common ancestor and it branches off into a bunch of different species.
It's not really the process of evolution. That's just like the tree, the evolutionary tree. But
So
regardless,
can
essentially,
you explain
evolution.
it?
I mean, it kind of, in a way, explains it. What evolution is basically the describing of how mutations in organisms make organisms change over time, and those organisms, speciation occurs, and they keep going down the evolutionary route, and they can no longer reproduce and produce fertile offspring. That's kind of what evolution is. So I'd suggest you go and read first grade biology, and you can probably, hopefully, realize that. All right, I'm adding a few more people. I might end in a bit, but yeah. Hey, what you want to debate?
Why do people need to go vegan? Because I was a vegetarian and it was the worst 3 months of my whole life.
Nah, it was that bad. Saving the planet, innocent animals not being killed and tortured. That really is your excuse? Seriously, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, tofu, what? How is that legal to sell to people?
Okay, this is not providing any argument whatsoever. All right, this is gonna be the last person probably. Everybody subscribe to the stream. Everybody go check out the YouTube for my updates. And yeah, hey, what do you want to debate? It's just childish. Like it's just childish at this point. It's not really, like, hey, what do you want
Yo, hello.
to debate, my dear boy?
God is imaginary. That's what I want to debate.
You believe in God?
Yeah, I believe in Islam.
Where's your evidence of Allah?
In the Quran.
I can't really use the Quran because that's kind of circular reasoning. It does just because it's in the Quran doesn't prove it's God. You need external evidence to.
No, but there's proof in the Quran, and
Where is
there's proof of other things. There's proof. There's verses, for example. There's a verse about the human embryo, which proves that the Quran was made 1,400 years ago, right? We can agree to that.
Okay, sure.
Let me finish. It was made 1,400 years ago. It hasn't been changed once since then. And there's a verse about called the human embryo, and it describes the human embryo in like complete detail, pretty much everything about. And you can only do that with the use of an electron microscope. And if it was made 1,400 years ago,
Hold on one
and
second,
it hasn't been changed.
Hold on one second, my dear boy. So you're saying it describes the embryo in complete detail? I don't even believe that's true. So
Okay, I can find the verse for you, so that doesn't make sense.
But even if it did, that doesn't necessarily prove God is real. Just because it says one scientific fact, how does it prove? That's
let me
a
finish. Let me finish then.
Relax one second, because just because it proves one thing doesn't necessarily mean that it proves another. That's a non-sequitur. Those are mutually exclusive things, my dear boy. That does not prove it.
Let me finish. Can I finish then? Can I explain it before you just cut me off straight away, bro? That's not cool.
Young man.
Cool. It describes the human embryo in the amount of detail that you can only do it through an electron microscope. This has been shown all over the internet. There's proof for it everywhere. I can show you proof right now.
No, I just disproved you. If you don't believe me, then you're just being wrong. It didn't describe the human embryo. You're just speaking falsehoods. You're giving long verbose explanations that are false. All right, this person doesn't want to join. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. No? Okay. All right, this is the last person I'm actually adding. This is actually the last person who I'm gonna. All right, what do you want to debate? Jacka, what do you want to debate?
Hello.
What do you want to debate?
Yeah. I just want to say that evolution can be compatible with creationism.
How? How can it be compatible?
Okay, so evolution is based on naturalism. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah. What about
Yeah.
it?
So all it is whatever's natural you see, that's basically the science. But from a theological point of view, we could use the same thing and say God is behind it. So I say theological naturalism.
But I believe that God, made
Okay.
organisms a certain way, not that they change. So
No,
how does
no,
that? What organisms did God first make? Because evolution begs to differ.
no, evolution just shows what God created, that's all.
No, because God. When did God make the world? How long ago did God make the
But
world?
that's a scientific question. What does science say?
Pardon?
What does science say? That's a scientific question.
Yes, but when did God make the first organisms? Because it describes. I don't know what religion you are. Are you Christian,
Now,
Muslim?
I'm a Muslim.
Okay,
But
but so if God, hold on one second, my
okay,
dear
I gotta
boy.
go now.
Relax
I
one
want to.
second. Give me a moment. You seem to have trouble focusing, so let me help you out. So again, you're describing that God made organisms a certain way and that they didn't change.
Take me to my house and back, because the problem was I walked down in my coat and I was sweating.
Okay.
Thank you, George. How are you?